Hello friends, now I'll be reading the Hindu editorial of 17th March 2023 at 100 words per minute in 5 seconds. Begin. India's goods exports fell for the third time in 5 months during February. The $33.8 billion of shipments marked an 8.8% drop from a year ago. In recent times of generally exuberant export growth, the only steeper decline was recorded in October 2022. A sharp 29% collapse in oil exports, a 12% fall in chemical shipments, and a 10% contraction in engineering goods outflows, accounting for almost half of India's merchandise exports, propelled in February's decline. But the effects of faltering global demand went beyond, dragging down 13 more of India's top 30 export items. February's exports are still 7.3% above October's number, but the immediate outlook is reverting to the global that prevailed in the last quarter of 2022, about large parts of the world slipping into recession. Resilient economic data from major markets over the past couple of months have infused a belief that the world economy may just end up avoiding the worst that was feared in 2023. But the ides of March dispelled those hopes, for now at least. Retail sales in US, India's largest export destination, soared 3% in January as a positive surprise, but slumped in February. The failures at two US banks and the disclosure of vulnerabilities by European banker Credit Suisse amid the US Federal Reserve's scramble in rein inflation suggest this momentum may not turn around anytime soon. On Wednesday, Brent crude prices dropped almost 5%. Recession risks have clearly resurfaced after the unexpectedly benign start to the year, with manufacturing already shrinking for the 2 quarters. A sustained spell of slipping shipments could mean factory job losses and dent consumption, as it is the 8.2% drop in February's imports, the largest in 3 months, contradictory streak, and the lowest import bill in almost a year, does not reflect well on global demand that is hoped to insulate the economy from global shocks. Some of this may be due to prices rather than volume factors. The government is looking to curb inessential imports to keep the deficit in check amid weaker exports. But this is tricky territory where factors such as quality, pricing, and supply chain linkages matter too, and missteps could curb consumer choice. With the deficit already constricted sharply over January and February from the record $29.2 billion level hit last September, policy bandwidth may be better used to support exporters to tap new markets and react more nimbly to fast shifting dynamics in key markets. The long deferred reign of the foreign trade policy must not be delayed any further at any cost. The high altitude maneuvering between two Russian fighter jets and an American drone over the Black Sea, which resulted in the splashing down of the US MQ-9 Reaper drone on Tuesday morning, has underscored the dangerous risks of the Ukraine war. In conflicting narratives about the incident, the Pentagon say that Russian Su-27s intercepted the surveillance drone in international airspace, dumping fuel on the drone, colliding with it and forcing it down. But the Russian Defense Ministry said its jets were scrambled after a US drone violated its temporary airspace of the Crimean Peninsula and that the American aerial vehicle lost altitude in sharp maneuvering. The MQ-9 recorded the incident. The video has been declassified and would help establish the truth. But whatever the reason, the fact that the US lost a drone in the Black Sea, where it does not even have a naval presence, is a grave reminder of those how close the nuclear powers have come to a conflict. While both sides have responded with maturity, the underlying situation that triggered this crisis remains unchanged. The US has provided over 30 billion in military assistance, including advanced defensive and offensive weapons, to Ukraine since the Russian invasion began, and imposed tough sanctions on Moscow. Washington says it is not directly involved in the war but is helping Ukraine defend its territories, while Russia alleges that the collective West is seeking to destroy it. As the war drags on, with Russia's failure to take a quick victory, the relationship between Washington and Moscow has broken down. Last month, Russia suspended its participation in the New START nuclear arms control treaty, the last of the Cold War era weapons control mechanisms between the two countries. Steadily deepening mutual distrust amid an ongoing conflict is a perfect recipe for disaster in great power rivalries. Even if the Biden administration has clearly ruled out a direct conflict with Russia, irresponsible and high risk maneuvering or even accidents could lead to, as the Pentagon said, miscalculation and unintended escalation. The US and Russia already have a deconfliction hotline to avoid mid-air collisions in different theaters where they operate. They should use that mechanism around Ukraine as well to avoid a repeat of incidents such as the Black Sea one. But a bigger challenge is to arrest the deterioration of their bilateral ties, which is now reminiscent of the bilateral hostility of the 2 decades of the Cold War. if the US and Russia address this problem and find some stability between themselves, it would help them bring the war in Ukraine to an end. A day of remembrance of the Pulwama attack passed yet again last month. The attack that happened on February 14, 2019 claimed the lives of 40 personnel who were a part of the Central Reserve Police Force, India's largest paramilitary force. The Pulwama attack was different as it resulted in unprecedented public outcry. The emotional response it evoked in the country cut across all sections of society. As a force, the CRPF takes everything in its stride. Stop. Please join the Telegram group in the comment section for the PDF. Thank you.